Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gentex Multimedia live telecast coming to you all the way from beautiful Brisbane. Hey, it's Friday once again, and of course heading off to the weekend with a lot of restrictions easing, and of course we know that children are planning their holidays as the school is about to close and everyone's leading into their breaks very soon. But right now, let's get up the word from one of our sponsors. And of course, Gaura Travel and has that special deal for 21st of December. Book with 5% deposit starting from $1,099. Gaura Travels, your best way home. The 24/7 website there as well. Well, right now, looking at the weekend, let's see what can we plan for the weekend. And with that, let's welcome Dilraj with the latest on the weather news.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 32 degree. Brisbane area is partly cloudy, possible late shower or storm in the late afternoon and evening. Light winds becoming northeasterly 20 to 30 km per hour in the middle of the day, then tending northerly 15 to 20 km per hour in the late afternoon. Fire danger is high, sun protection is recommended till 3, and UV index is predicted to reach 12, that is extreme. Tomorrow, that is Saturday, minimum will be 22 and maximum will be 32. Brisbane area will be mostly sunny with no chance of any rain. Light winds becoming northeasterly 25 to 40 km per hour in the middle of the day, then tending northerly 15 to 25 km per hour in the late evening. UV index is predicted to reach 11, that is extreme. On Sunday, minimum will be 23 and maximum will be 33. Brisbane area will be very hot inland and mostly sunny with 5% chances of rain. Winds northerly 15 to 30 km per hour, and UV index is predicted to reach 12, that is extreme. Over the weekend, sun protection is recommended from 7:30 to 3:40 in the afternoon. Till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much, Dilraj, for the update. So there you go. Now you can go ahead and plan your weekend. Well, right now, let's take a very good look at what's going to be happening. And with that, the latest news is that Prime Minister announces a cashless welfare card.
Yes, I have discussed that with Bridget. We are in a period of our party's experience and history in this place, and Greg has been around here longer than I have, that we have not known for a very long time. There is a great sense of unity and connection between all our members from our class of 2019, going back to the class of 1996 and indeed possibly beyond with Kevin Andrews. And one of the reasons we've achieved that stability and unity in our parliamentary party, which I pledged to regain when I became Prime Minister, is we have room to breathe. We are a confident party that is confident about allowing our members to breathe and express their views as they do. But equally, that comes with the responsibility of being a member of the team, which ensures that the government is able to continue to progress its agenda, as we indeed will in this area. But I've spoken to Bridget again today and thanked her for her honesty, for her sincerity, because that's why she's the member for Bass. That's why she's here. All my members are like that. They know that they can walk into my office at any time and raise issues, and do. And I think giving each other the space in our party room and the respect that comes with that is the reason why the Australian public is seeing a government the most united we've seen of any government for a very long time.
And there we go, up to date on Gentex Multimedia live stream for the 4th of December, and a beautiful day here in Brisbane, nice and warm. Well, right now let's take a good look at the headlines for today, courtesy of ABC.
But you can also check us out online at news.abc.net.au and on iView. Here are today's top stories. The United States has recorded more than 2,800 coronavirus deaths in a single day, overtaking the previous record from April. New cases in the country have topped 200,000 in just a day, with the number of Americans hospitalised passing 100,000 for the first time. Health authorities in New South Wales are urgently trying to find the source of the latest COVID-19 infection in Sydney. A woman working in a quarantine hotel at Darling Harbour tested positive yesterday, with the results of genome sequencing expected within 24 to 48 hours. Public transport users and thousands of people living in the city's southwest have been warned to be on the lookout for symptoms. Federal Parliament is investigating whether Australia's criminal law goes far enough to protect victims of domestic abuse from sustained psychological trauma and social isolation. Debate has raged about whether coercive control needs to be criminalised in the wake of the murder of Brisbane woman Hannah Clark and her 3 children at the hands of her partner. And the Great Barrier Reef has deteriorated to a critical condition, according to a UNESCO advisory body. It found 3 mass coral bleaching events in the past 5 years have led to a dramatic decline in the reef's World Heritage value.
So there you are, up to date on Gentex Multimedia live presentation. And of course, when we look at the domestic violence one, White Ribbon is working in that space as well. Of course, following on that horrific incident here in Brisbane. And of course, when we look at the Great Barrier Reef, I think it probably needs to be closed for a while. People just shouldn't be going there, divers and all kinds of people. It's a human intervention that is causing part of the problem. I'm not saying that is the problem, but part of the problem is that as well. Well, right now, time to look at New South Wales, as we know that a lady who went out into the public. Let's see what the Premier is saying about the restrictions.
We have further restrictions easing on Monday. We've just been made aware of what is potentially a very serious and unfolding situation, but I'm confident with the information we have to date that our expert health teams and our expert services supporting our health teams have done everything they can do at this stage. And we've also seen a number of coordination across a number of services within government to make sure we have that timely information. And again, we can't stress enough how important it is to have those systems in place, whether it's QR codes, whether it's other forms of collecting information through the transport system or other networks, to make sure that we have that, because this is what will allow us to fight the virus, keep the virus at bay, but also keep our economy open. And this is the balance we need to strike in our state. And to date, we've done reasonably well, we've done very well, but the risk is always there, and I don't want to understate that risk. And I also don't want to underestimate the fact that it's an evolving situation. But from the advice we have, from the information we have to date, we are confident that at this stage we can still proceed with everything as we'd announced yesterday.
And of course, with that announcement, we will go right now to UK. The breaking news there is the approval of the vaccine in UK.
And lastly, did the fact that Britain is in the process of and has Brexited, did that mean we got the vaccination, a world first, ahead of the US and the EU? Yes or no, do you believe, Secretary of State?
Well, I just reckon we've got the very best people in this country, and we've obviously got the best medical regulators, much better than the French have, much better than the Belgians have, much better than the Americans have. That doesn't surprise me at all, because we're a much better country than every single one of them.
So it did help that we've Brexited finally, Secretary.
I think just being able to get on with things, deliver it, and the brilliant people in our medical regulator making it happen means that people in this country are going to be the first ones in the Western world to get that Pfizer, or in the world to get that Pfizer vaccine. Real competitive advantage. But do you know who it's down to? It's down to those brilliant clinicians in the regulator who's made it happen so fast. So our thanks go out to them.
And of course, the thanks goes out to people who actually made the vaccine themselves. Well, right now they're going to India, and of course we know that the farmers have had a series of talks with the government in Delhi in Vigyan Bhavan, but no resolution has come forward. So the protests are still going on and happening because some leeway, some progress has been made, but there has been no agreement reached as yet. So talks will be continuing. And we'll be keeping an eye on that. The other news is, the household name, everyone knew him and loved him, was MDH Masalas. The owner of that has sadly passed away. But do you know what MDH stood for? So MDA is Mahase Dharampal Gulati, 97-year-old, was undergoing treatment at Mata Chandan Devi Hospital. Gulati was reportedly undergoing post-COVID treatment and suffered a cardiac arrest. Gulati was, he was a very inspiring personality and dedicated his life to the society. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal took to the Twitter and paid respects. Delhi, the Chief Minister Manish Sisodia also paid his tributes to the inspiring and lively soul. Popularly known as the Spice King, Gulati was awarded Padma Bhushan in 2019. The MDH owner was born in Sialkot, now Pakistan, on March 27. He moved to India after partition and set up his business in Delhi. MDH was founded by his late father Mahase Chunnilal Gulati. MDH owner Dharampal Gulati, and sadly will be missed. He's passed away at age 97. So right now, moving on with all the news for today, well, let's go and take a very good look and insight into the few of the flights that are going to India. And to talk to us about that, we have none other than Ashwini from Gaura Travels joining us, and we're giving us an update on what's happening with the flights that are planned or flights that are going to India. I'll see if I can get him. Can you hear me? Other options that are getaways, the first update brought to you, ladies and gentlemen. The festive season is just around the corner and people are planning their getaways. And for your information and knowledge, we have Ashwini from Gaura Travels to talk to us about some other options that are available at this point in time. Welcome to the show, Ashwini.
Thank you, Vijit. My pleasure to be part of your show. Thank you for inviting us to speak a few words.
Now, it's wonderful that everything that you've been doing out there. So Ashwini, could you tell us how has Gaura Travel been able to assist people during COVID-19?
So yeah, Umeji, we feel very fortunate that in this pandemic, we have had some small role in helping our Indian community in Australia. So as you know, as everybody knows, that all the normal flights are completely shut down, all the borders are closed. So at the moment, there were a lot of people who were stuck in Australia from India and they wanted to return back home. So we looked at that situation. We were getting lots of calls to help in the situation. So we tried to talk to the government, tried to talk to the consulates, tried to talk to the airlines. And we started some charter flights, and very happy to share that our first flight went from Sydney on the 22nd of July. Second was on 23rd July from Melbourne. We thought we'll do 2 or 3 flights, but somehow or other we kept getting requests more and more and more. And on 20th of November, we finished our 25th charter flight. So with that, with 25 charter flights, we have helped so far 6,510 Indians to reach back to India from Australia.
That is wonderful, and now it is great to see that you had so many charter flights, and of course helping all the people getting back. That is so wonderful. Now moving forward, what do you foresee happening within our Indian community?
So yeah, as you know, moving forward, basically the flights are still not operating normally. The borders are still closed. I still feel the borders will keep remaining closed at least till end of December for sure. Yesterday only one news came where the India government has extended the border closure till end of December. But they are extending it every month after month. So it may remain closed for January, February as well. But for December, it's officially closed. And more now also, a lot of people are working from home and they are thinking that why shouldn't they just go to India and spend some time with their family over there, give them support as well as work from there. Because anyways, working from home here or there, it doesn't make any difference, So it is giving some flexibility to a lot of people. In fact, I believe a lot of IT companies are saying permanently you work from home, or they are saying at least for next 6 months or 1 year. So there is no certainty when the back to office will happen again. And many people are working from home, So I am seeing the trend that in our recent flights, it is becoming 50-50. Like 50% people are going who are stuck here, and 50% people are going who are PR and residents of Australia from Indian background. But they are thinking, let's go to India and spend there 2-3 months and stay with family and also work from there. So this trend is seeming to continue, more and more in the future. And because of that, we are still having flights going in December to assist all these people to travel back to India.
Okay, as you mentioned that people will be more inclined towards working from home, and that is definitely the trend that's happening now. And of course, what better time now, if you have to go and plan to go back home. So what are the opportunities for people during this period?
So as I mentioned that we have 7 charter flights in December month itself. And as you know, we have done already many flights from Melbourne and Sydney. So that has more population. So definitely that is still continuing on. There are a couple of flights from Sydney and 3 and 4 flights from Melbourne. But I have something very, very exciting to share with you, that now for the first time we have launched a charter flight from Brisbane. And due to a lot of requests that was coming to us that you all are doing from Melbourne and Sydney, why not from Brisbane? So we thought, okay, we will give it a go. And on 21st of December, there is a charter flight going from Brisbane to Delhi, and then also further connecting to other cities in India. If anyone is interested, we will do the end-to-end solution. We will give you a flight from Brisbane to Delhi, and further, if somebody is requiring to Ahmedabad, to Mumbai, to Hyderabad, to Bangalore, to various cities in India.
Okay, so all of these flights, would they be charter flights?
That is correct, sir. All the flights that is going from, because currently there are no normal flights operating to India. So all of these flights are fully chartered by Gaura Travel only. And we are taking the full responsibility end to end. Once you reach India, after that from Delhi to other cities, it is not chartered, it is a domestic flight, but we are giving that domestic flight with full service airline, which is Air India and Vistara, not low cost airline. So
okay, so that is wonderful. So now, as you mentioned that all these flights going from Brisbane, so what are the options and some dates available?
So from Brisbane, we have it on 21st of December.
Yes, okay.
So just before the Christmas period, 21st of December. It has been quite already successful. We have only launched it last week on Friday. and so far more than 50 bookings have already come through. So my request and urge to all people who are interested to go back from Brisbane directly, and it doesn't need to, you don't need to travel to Melbourne or Sydney. You can travel directly from Brisbane.
That is wonderful news that they'll be able to travel directly from Brisbane. And now, what are any special requirements that people might need, and who can qualify for this travel?
So basically, if you are an Indian passport holder, then there is no special requirement. You just book the ticket on our website. We have a very fantastic website, which we are very, very proud of. It is very sophisticated. Everything can be done online directly. It's called charter.gauratravel.com.au. So you book there, all the details you mentioned, the name and passport copies you will have to update over there, and just pay a 5% deposit only. Not the full amount, only the 5% deposit first. Then our team will check everything, your documents and everything, and then we will request for full payment. And we are currently offering a special price of only $1,099. That's $1,099. That's the cheapest that anyone has ever offered from Brisbane. And only limited seats are available for that price. So for Indian passport holders, there is no extra requirement. Now, if there is an Australian passport holder or a PR holder in Australia, then the additional requirement is that you have to take an exemption from Australian border post. Now, again, with my experience so far and what the other travelers are sharing, if they are traveling for a longer period of time, for 2 to 3 months, then they are getting the exemption. They have to just apply online and mention the reason why they want to travel. Then usually they are getting the exemption. So if you can get the exemption and then book the ticket, then you're ready to travel. And another news I would like to share, that now India is offering a facility where you don't need to quarantine there as long as you carry a negative RT-PCR test. So if you carry a negative RT-PCR COVID test with you, you can go to India and no need to quarantine and straight back to home.
Okay, and how do people get that certificate? They have to be tested here before they get on the flight?
That is correct. So before 72 hours, it cannot be done like 1 week, 2 weeks advance. It has to be done within the 72 hours of the flight date. And you go to any local GP and they will give you the reference to test it. So you basically get it tested here. And then there is a website called Air Suvidha website. And you have to go and upload that over there and also request for exemption from quarantine. And once you do that, then you will be given a quarantine exemption. Excuse me. A quarantine exemption will be approved once it is uploaded online.
Well, Ashwini, thank you so much for that wonderful information that you have shared with us. Especially, it's a good news for all people wishing to travel from Brisbane. And 21st is a very good date because by that time, most of the offices would probably officially close as well, getting into their Christmas break. So that would be wonderful news for everyone. So once again, thank you so much for sharing this information with us. So ladies and gentlemen, Gaurav Travel has been the award-winning travel agent operating for the last 12 years. So thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all this information with us, Ashwini.
Thank you, Meji. It is my pleasure, and look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
And of course, if there's a further updates, we will do a follow-up show on the updates that you might have. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Meji.
They were up to date on Gentex Multimedia, and that is a very, very exciting news that on December 21st, starting price from $1,099 with Gaurav Travel direct flight from Brisbane. So, it has been a long time coming, and it is good to see that if we can do that. Whenever you get a chance, you jump on their website if you need further information. Well, right now, let's move on with the news, and let's take a look at what's being happening in and around the country. New South Wales first.
There's a sensational story breaking out of the ICAC inquiry.
The New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian says she stuffed up in her personal life.
She allowed a bloke into her world who didn't deserve to be within a mile of her.
Did you make money out of this, Mr Maguire? Did you company?
Thank you.
The word around the city was finally Dodgy Darrell's been found out. Where's it going to end up? Now with Gladys Berejiklian being involved, that's just come as an absolute bombshell.
I feel really, really let down. I trusted him for a long time.
Darrell Maguire had a key to the Premier's North Shore home for many years. Doesn't this demonstrate an intimate personal relationship?
Has she done anything wrong? Because, I mean, having this secret relationship, that's fine.
If you're asking me as a senior Liberal member, then I would say that, she should go.
Mr Maguire, will you apologise to taxpayers?
Ms Berejiklian, have you ever been in a close personal relationship?
And of course, that story is not going away. The journalists will not give up, and they keep following up on that story, and we'll keep you updated on what's happening in that, the further developments that happen. Now to Tasmania, where the Tasmanian Premier looks like will be supporting the assisted euthanasia.
Madam Speaker, one of the key matters, key points that I wanted to speak about is that whilst I acknowledge my own experiences and those experiences through my own lens, I need to balance that with how others may feel in circumstances of terminal suffering as well. I do not have a mortgage on grief or on pain or on suffering. No one does. And I believe, Madam Speaker, very passionately that we owe it to Tasmanians to apply careful and considered scrutiny, to listen with compassion, empathy and understanding to the views that are shared in this place, and to ensure that if this legislation is passed by this House, that it does not compromise the safety of Tasmania's most vulnerable. This will be a very personal debate. It should be. It's on a very personal subject, and it's why members of the government will have a conscience vote on the bill, as we believe should be afforded to all members in this place. It is incumbent on all of us to ensure that if this bill passes, that Tasmania will have the most robust laws possible, that those who are most vulnerable will have the safeguards in place that we need, and that we do the due diligence necessary to ensure that we have the very best laws.
And of course, it is quite controversial, but what do we do? That's the law. Well, right now we go to South Australia, where police are tracing this gentleman, and look at what he did in the bus. And that passenger there was just sitting by himself, not doing anybody any harm, and out of him he comes, and there we go. That's when he punches him. Well, it is good that the buses these days are fitted with the CCTV cameras, and that, of course, helps a lot in incidences like this. Now, it's upon the public now to, if someone knows him, to come forward. Police are, keen to listen to you. Well, the vaccine, and that's what the next few news clips will be dominating on, and how much has been spent on the vaccine, and how much has been, put in that research and development?
Well, I wouldn't want to use the word guinea pigs with the UK.
We all have friends, family and relatives, or many of us do in the UK, and we're deeply concerned about the situation there. Essentially, these vaccines were developed so quickly because of, and again it's an overused word, the unprecedented investment of billions of dollars and governments across the world essentially at risk supporting companies and researchers to be able to do several steps at once. Because we know that often vaccines fall along the wayside, they don't meet particular steps. And governments across the world stepped in and said, well, we'll put up that $100 million for allow you to do pilot manufacture and so forth. The second reason is it became the main area of focus for researchers and companies, most major companies. And so we've never seen an area of health where globally, in 1 year, everyone moved to focus on one thing. Thirdly, we were able to build on what we'd learnt from SARS and MERS and some very similar conditions. And so things like the Pfizer vaccine actually came out of some of these earlier developments, as did the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. So in that sense, we're building on a lot of knowledge about safety and so forth. Our situation, as the Prime Minister has said, is different from the UK. What it will enable is that, let's say, come late January or February, we actually not only will have the data from the clinical trials of 10 to 40,000, depending on the type of trial, people, but we'll also have the real-world experience of several hundred thousand.
So we will have that several hundred thousand and the experience that's been derived from there. So, you know, will the police be the first one to be vaccinated in Australia?
All of our vaccine contracts have the ability to purchase more if more is recommended. So we'll continue to follow the advice of that medical expert panel. So there's the capacity to purchase more of any of them if that's recommended. We built those into the deals, and very happy for you to address the other question. Look, let me say something first. We have been asked this. This is an honest question that we're considering. I've actually had this discussion with Chris Bowen on the basis that none of us want to be jumping the queue. We're quite acutely aware of that, but nor do we want to mean there's any lack of confidence. So the honest discussion I've had with Chris Bowen is it may be that there are some from both sides, but not as a class. We don't. There's no medical advice that we should have a special exemption, but it may be that there are some of us who, on both sides, and indeed all sides of the chamber, are put forward on a voluntary basis as demonstration, and I would be very happy to take any vaccine that the medical regulators deem safe for Australia.
So there you go. It's not that the politicians get vaccinated first. So when will we get the vaccine? When can Australia expect that?
It's a glimmer of hope for a country dealing with a COVID emergency.
The whole House will want to join me in welcoming the fantastic news that the MHRA has formally authorised the Pfizer vaccine for COVID-19.
Older people and frontline health workers will be given priority. Australia isn't facing such an emergency, so we'll wait for approval by the Therapeutic Goods Administration.
We're in a very strong position, and that enables us to get this right, to get the balance right, to ensure first and foremost the safety.
The first jabs here could begin around March, but just getting to this point has been an extraordinary scientific feat. In January, Australia became the first country outside China to grow the virus in a lab. That allowed scientists to understand it and start racing towards a vaccine. Then last month, Pfizer released preliminary results claiming its vaccine was over 90% effective. 1 week later, Moderna said its vaccine had 94% efficacy. The following week, Oxford University and AstraZeneca announced their vaccine was up to 90% effective. With the UK rolling out the Pfizer vaccine next week, the US could follow soon. Experts say it's a timeline never seen before.
When you put hundreds of thousands of the world's best experts, billions of dollars, they're the reasons why these vaccines have been able to be developed in a period of under a year rather than 5 or 10 years.
Australia's vaccination rollout will also be on a priority basis, but with 2 jabs required, it'll take time.
The aim is that there should be vaccines rolled out throughout 2021. There will still be people needing to be vaccinated after that, that's certain.
With COVID-19 so well controlled here, waiting for all the data is a luxury we can afford.
I think that's going to give Australians even a stronger sense of confidence in that vaccine.
Enough confidence, hopefully, to avoid mandated vaccines.
Let Australians have a fair go first and see how we go with voluntary vaccination and really well-run systems.
Systems everyone hopes will return life to normal. Michael Slezak, ABC.
And of course, everyone's waiting for that life to return back to normal. Well, it will be the new normal. It will never go back to what it was originally. Now, I hope you like oranges.
These scientists have been grappling with how to stop sepsis, one of the most deadly complications of COVID-19.
I think what's going on in the brain is going to be really important.
To halt the damage, they harness the power of vitamin C in animal studies.
Kidneys were one of the first organs to come back. And after the kidneys, the brain started showing improvements and the alertness came back.
Doctors hope the same treatment might save a man with sepsis brought on by COVID-19.
He was very critically ill with multiple organ failure, and we were fearful that he wasn't going to make it.
They administered a dose of vitamin C 50 times greater than what's been tried before.
For a human, if you got this dose, it would be something like 5,000 oranges worth of vitamin C. The response was one of the most amazing things I've seen in my research career.
When the 40-year-old got the mega dose, almost immediately he started to recover.
The temperature markedly decreased and there was a very significant clinical improvement. The fact that the patient improved and then eventually survived was gratifying.
But experts caution such a high dose of vitamin C can only be given in a hospital, and that previous research hasn't been this successful.
And in those trials where vitamin C has been combined with other treatments, particularly steroids, to date they've been rather disappointing.
Scientists will now run a large clinical trial to see if the results of this case can be replicated. Sophie Scott, ABC News.
Of course, that can only be given in an hospital. Well, right now, looking at all these small businesses and how they're doing and how are they coping with all the COVID that's hit them.
Well, the threat of COVID-19 remains. Despite Australia's success at suppressing the virus and unprecedented government stimulus, 1 million people are still out of a job, and sectors of the economy will struggle for years. The economic sudden stop shook every level of business across the country. The share prices of the major banks are slowly recovering after they suspended dividends and had their earnings thumped. Airlines and travel stocks sold off heavily early in the piece are now picking up as borders reopen. And buy now, pay later fintech companies like Afterpay and Zip saw their stock more than double in the space of months. But the lifeblood of the Australian economy and jobs market, small business, was trapped in the centre of the economic storm. Stimulus measures like JobKeeper and deferred loans helped many to stay afloat amid the ongoing uncertainty, while some found new ways to adapt and survive. We revisit some of the businesses the business spoke to earlier in the year to see how they met the challenge.
Hi, my name's Jason Cronshaw from the Blue Mountains Explorer Bus. The biggest thing I've probably learned about myself is to adapt and not really rely on business that might be not coming in from around the corner.
It took us a couple of days to find our feet and install, but as far as adapting, I think we did a very good job of doing that very quickly. Hi, I'm Glenn Boyland and I'm the General Manager of Bluefish Restaurant in Darling Harbour. 2020, I could either see it as being fast, gone very, very fast, or very, very slow for some periods of time. It's been a roller coaster.
Disastrous, with first of all having the bushfires and then floods and then going into COVID. It's really the first time in our 47 years history that we've really been shut down from the lack of business. We introduced new products straight away, so we looked at running the shuttle service down into the Megalong Valley wineries. We also introduced some bushwalking shuttle services. And then the Clipper classes, which is the restored 1954 Clipper, that was really an instant success for the Sydney market.
Hi Sabrina, my name is Jess. I work here at Fresh Face Bar in Richmond. How are you?
we weren't able to do treatments for, I think it was up.
So there you go, how small businesses adapted to and made some changes, and with a few changes they have been able to manage. So one thing that's come out of this COVID exercise is the people's ability to adapt to situations, as we've seen that there's so many things happening virtually and online and other things. There are people who you see online or you see on Zoom meetings whom you'd have never ever they thought that they would be coming online and sharing their views via those platforms. But we are adaptable animals, aren't we? Well, right now, let's take a look at one of our sponsors.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world. And don't forget to tune in every Wednesday for the real estate update with Usha Chandra, where she looks at all the trends in the property, what's it doing, and it has been surprised, and everyone's have been surprised to find out that property has stood very strong even during COVID. Well, right now, the movie I talked about the other day, The Fairness, and here's some clips from the pre-launch, which we were fortunate to attend.
Actually, really enjoyed it. Acting was amazing.
Very moving, very powerful.
History of Afghans, how they come, so I really liked it.
Go and watch it. It's incredible. Seriously.
Wonderful. Everyone seems to have really enjoyed it. They said it was a perspective they hadn't seen before, and something that was new and exciting and very enjoyable and very moving.
Everything was amazing. It was so good to know the history, and we should be all thankful to the actors and who had the part to do this film. Thank you.
Acting was very nice and the action was superb. I really like it.
It is definitely going to change the perception how the future Australian generations is going to look at Afghani, Indian and Sikh community now.
Oh, that is just amazing, going back into the history of what it is all about.
Oh my gosh, I would definitely recommend this to anyone, really.
Come and see it. It's absolutely, truly worth it. Come see it once, twice, 3 times. I'm really keen to see it again.
The film's coming out December 10. Go check it out. It's going to be in 110 cinemas around Australia. So have a bit of fun, get back into the cinemas, take in a bit of Australian history in a way you haven't seen it before.
And as Kaushik Das said, come and see the Australian history being told in a way that has never been told before. And it's I'd vouch with that because it is a very well made movie, and the storytelling, as I said before on the day when I came back after the show, was that the storytelling is brilliant. As we know, it matches in with the Dreamtime storytelling of the land, the Aboriginals and the First Nation people, in the way they used to have all the storytelling. So, it does tie in with that. And it is just amazing to see it happening here. So, in cinemas from December 10, Watch out, keep an eye on our website, and we'll have all the information about which cinemas that it will be playing in, but it is a must-see. Everyone, like the girl said there, that everyone needs to see that, not just one or two people. Right now, let's take a look at all the functions and events that are happening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I need to say goodbye. It's been wonderful having your company. And as usual, I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. with the weekend roundup for tomorrow. How the week goes very quickly, and so has this year, as we know. 2020 is sometimes known as it will be one which will be remembered for a long time, even though people might not want to remember it. Hey, it's wonderful to see you. It's always so good to see you. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. Make sure that you enjoy the rest of the day, but most importantly, do remain safe. Do observe those safety points and tips that I said. So until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.